Hello, Jan Gensel Bates here, and this video is to talk about the individual consultation. And this is the last part of the closing of each individual after you have facialed them or they're at a party. Because this information is something that you can use even when you do an individual facial, or just even one or two people. You always want to close the presentation. You always want to bring it all the way to the end. Now, when you're doing a whole party, the one thing that's important is that you do an individual close away from the table where the remaining guests are going to be. You would like to take them away so that you can just do one-on-one. And the reason you want to do that is because people always want to know, they don't always want their friends to know exactly what they're doing or spending. And it's really important. There's a couple parts in here that I think are really important to know, because sometimes, your family or your closest friends might be, and they might all know each other. And a lot of times they know my business that I don't want them to know, or they hear me complain that I don't have any money, and then when I get ready to spend my money because I really love these products, one of those other friends or family might be wanting to give their opinion on whether I should spend my money on this or not. And I don't want them to tell me that. I want to be able to make my own decision. And I've literally had it be where I couldn't pull them away, or I had a mother and a daughter where the daughter was an adult, but the mother decided to tell the daughter of what she shouldn't buy or what she shouldn't spend her money on. And so the daughter was going to buy it, but then the mother spoke up and basically made her feel guilty, and she didn't do it. So I think it should always be an individual situation when they're spending their money. Now, so I like to go away from the table. The sofa is the best way, because if I'm on the sofa, I can sit, I can feel relaxed, I can focus on her, and just feel comfortable that way. And a lot of times, if it's appropriate, I might even kick off my shoes and go, oh, it feels so good to sit down. So it just, just so you can be comfortable. Mary Kay always taught us that the most important thing when we're doing the present, especially if we have a group presentation, when we're doing the presentation, it's important for us to stand. It's important for us to be in control of the situation. And sitting down, when you have 5 people sitting around the table and you sit down too, you do not have control. Now, when I'm doing an individual facial where I've got 1 or 2, if I just have 1 or 2 people that I'm facialing, I always sit, because I don't want to feel intimidating, because when there's only 1 or 2 people there, you don't want to constantly be standing where it feels like you're standing over just them. But when you're in a situation where you have 3 or more women sitting around a table, it's really important to stay in control of the whole situation until we get to the end. So I'm sharing the opportunity. I'm talking about what they need, what I want them to know about the products. I'm talking to them about what I want them to know about my services and future bookings, and what they can get for hostess credit, and about my opportunity, and maybe they want to share in that. So that's the presentation. But now when we do the private consultation, that is the time when they're spending the money and they need to feel in control. This is not a time for you to be in control. In a sense, it's for them to feel like they are in control. So for me, this is real easy because I'm short. But if you're tall, you got to think about this. And that is, when you sit with them, if you're both in a sitting position, you want to be eye level or below them, so that they feel like as they spend their money, they're the ones in control and they're the ones making the choices. If you kind of lean down, kind of sit down and kind of lean in, maybe put your arms on your lap so you can kind of lean in, then they will feel more in control. And you don't ever want to feel like you're manipulating the sale. And this is a way to do it so that they feel like they're in control of what they're spending. Okay? So once what they're going to bring is, they're going to bring their placemat, they're going to bring their profile and their sheet. They're going to be bringing that stuff, and then I'm going to sit down. So what I do then is I will ask them if I can have their profile card, and then I say to them, the hostess sheet, you get to take that home with you. So I give that back to her. I keep the profile, and then I have her keep the sets. I have her keep those on her lap, okay? So she can have that on her lap. So, all right, let's look, Susie, here. I look at the front of the profile first, and this is what I like to do first. I like to just make sure that everything that I need filled out with her name and address and her birthday. I always want to make sure I have her birthday, the city, state, the email, the phone, make sure I have all of that. I make sure that I have her eye color written on there and possibly her hair color. And then just so the front is all completed. Then once I say, okay, great, I've got all the information I need to keep you in my file now, and then I turn it over. And then I can look at her 1, 2, 3, and 4, right? I can look at what she put. So, Susie, it was such a pleasure to meet you today. Did you have fun? And then you wait for her to answer. And again, remember the eye contact? This is important for eye contact. So, did you have fun today? Great. How does your face feel? And you do this, because when you do this, she'll mimic that and she'll feel her face and go, well, it feels pretty good. And if I've done like something on half of the face, like you'll see that when I do the presentation, maybe I did micro on half the face, or we did the charcoal mask, and can you feel the difference between the two sides? Isn't it amazing after just one time? Feels so great. So, all right. So, Susie, are there any questions that I haven't answered for you yet that you may have had? Is there anything else I can answer for you question-wise? Okay, great. And so I see here under number 1, if money were no object and you could choose any set you wanted as your dream set, I see here that you chose the Cadillac set. So you want it all. You just, you would love it all. But since I know that sometimes that money can be a situation, what do you feel comfortable taking home with you today? Again, you wait. Because when you ask these questions, it's important for you to let her answer, because the first person to talk after you answer that question is the one who buys it. So if you say, what do you want to take home with you? And then you talk again, then you're the one that's going to go home with it, not her. And you want her to go home with it, right? All right, so you ask the questions and you let them answer. So if money were no object. Okay, now on the invitation that I send out to invite them to the party, I have my 8-minute phone call, that is the career chat hotline. I have that information on the invitation. So if they listen to it prior to coming to the facial, then they get to pick a half off glamour item. So then I would say, so Susie, did you listen to the 8-minute call? And if she says, no, I didn't, and I say, okay, well, you still can. And if she says, yes, I did, I say, what's the password? And you let her give you the password, okay? Which if you've listened to it, you know what the password is. All right, so she gives you the password and you say, great. And, you get to pick a half off glamour item today for listening. And so do you know what you want to pick? And then you let her pick, right? And then you say, oh, and by the way, let's look at how many names. Oh, look, you gave me 5 names today, so you get another half off glamour item today. And, oh, you gave me 10 items. Oh, you get 2 half off glamour items. So you just make sure that you're looking on the back of the profile so you can know how she answered the question and how many names she gave, right? So then you say, okay, well, let's get your second appointment in my book right now. And you pick up your date book, and then you say, what's better for you? Daytime, evenings, weekends. You get to offer whatever you want. So if you only do evenings and weekends, or you only do weekends, that's all you offer. So I personally say daytime, evening, or weekends. What's better for you? And then, okay, so weekends are best. So would Saturday or Sunday be better? And then you look in your calendar and say, well, I have this Saturday open at 10 a.m. Or 1, which would be better for you? So you keep giving choices between 2. All right. And, oh my goodness, hang on. Okay, let's rewind for a second. The rewind is, I asked her about the half off glamour items, and I have her do this. Then what I do is I total up the sale first before I go into booking the second appointment. I'm so sorry, my mind's getting ahead of me. So once I have found out what she wanted, and then put her half off glamour items, is there anything else, Susie, that you can't live without today? Okay, great. Well, then I total it all up, and I say, now, this is your total, and I just show it to her. Because if there are ears within earshot and they're listening, they're not going to see her, they're not going to hear me say her total. So I just kind of total up and I turn it and say, this is your total. Is your payment preference cash, check, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, or Discover? What is your payment preference? And then I take care of that. Then once that's taken care of completely, the sale is done. She's got everything she wants to take home with her. I've got it all written up. Then I say, now let's get your second appointment in the book. And what is better for you, daytime, evening, or weekends? You know, and you keep giving choices back and forth, and then till you come up with a day. And that's why it's so important for you to highlight in your date book when you can hold appointments and when you can, when you're available. So highlight them ahead of time. That way, when she says, well, I can do weekends, and then, okay, well, I do Saturdays, or I do Saturdays and some Sunday afternoons. Maybe I don't do every Sunday afternoon. So you get to choose that when you're working, but it's best to highlight it in your book, in your date book, so that you know exactly when you can hold the appointments. And then you can say, well, I have this date and this time, or this day and this time, which would be better for you. Then you write her name in it, and you write her phone number right there. And then you say, okay, so Susie, you gave me 5 names back here. Do you want to just use this as your guest list? Is that going to be, are those the people you would like to invite, or do you have different or more people? And then you can just usually say, and again, this is scripted right out here for you, and you say, oh, and we're going to do a while to browse for you. Okay, great. So I'm going to write in there her name, Susie, her phone number, while to browse. All right. So now, Susan, remember when that, you know, everybody can't always come at the same time. So what we're going to do is we've got this date and time that works for you and I, right? And so if you would like to have 5 women there, I'm going to recommend that you invite like 8 or 9 women. If you only want 3 there, then you would want to invite at least 6. And so you always want to invite more than what you want to actually come, because, oh God, you know how it is. Susie Q gets pink eye, and you know, Karen's over there throwing up, and you just never know how it's going to work. So it's always best to invite more people and actually get more people confirmed, because very few times does every single person come. And if they do, I'll accommodate. We'll just put some more trays in, okay? Now, I have this lookbook for you. I just realized I didn't have it right here. I have this lookbook for you, and on the back of the lookbook is, it's called Blessings Times 50. And so you can get outside orders on there if you want. And I have an envelope, just a regular number 10 size envelope stapled in here. And it says on here, checks payable to Jan Bates. So if anybody wants to pay by check or cash in advance, then they can do that. I also have my business card taped right there so you can see that. But they can put in checks, or, you know, if you want to do cash, you can do cash or checks. And then there's little slips inside there so that if they want to charge, they can do that. So this can be all for the outside orders that, you know, you want to get. And you've got a lookbook that you can just show everything stapled in there, and it's really simple and easy. Now, I also have 2 sheets of paper. And again, I just realized I forgot to put them in front of me. I have 2 sheets of paper. One of them is called Working Full Circle, and the other is the hostess flyer that I showed you before. And on the back of my hostess flyer, so this talks about, you know, how she can be a hostess and what hostess credit is. Again, it's all on here. And then on the back is some information. So you want to have blanks of these plus the Working Full Circle page. And so what I have is I have these with me, and I have the lookbooks with me. And so what I do is I write on here, hostess information is Susie Q. And Susie, do you prefer to have this at my home or yours? And then if it's at her home, then I can just put at her home, her phone number, and then the date of the class. Then I would put down the type of class right on this sheet. This is called Working Full Circle. This is my sheet that I'm going to keep. And then I would say, all right, so here's what we're going to do. Since we have 2 choices, Susie. I can text an invitation to these women if you think text is best, or I can actually mail them an invitation in snail mail, like, you know, the U.S. Postal Service mail, and I can send a postcard invitation to them. So which do you prefer? Which do you think they would respond to the most? And then, and again, if it's, say this is Wednesday and her class is going to be this Saturday, we really don't have time for snail mail, so we really have to kind of text out the invitations if we can. And I prefer to use that even over email, because people just don't read emails anymore, and we want to make sure that they see it right away. So this information is for me to track everything. I need to know if this is going to be her guest list. If it's not everybody that she's going to have on her guest list, then I say, I'll tell you what, I'm going to send you an email tomorrow, and you just email me back with the entire guest list. And if I'm going to use snail mail, send me back an email with all their names and their street address and their city and state zip, and I will mail those out. So either way, then you have that. And then this side of the sheet with the hostess credit, this sheet, it's hers, mine's laminated, but hers would not be. And again, I would just write at the top the date of the party, the time, while the browse or whatever she's doing, the guest list by. So then I would just write on there, I need the guest list by tomorrow night, if so that I just have it. And these, you don't have to invite the people first and ask if they can come. Just get me the guest list, and this will be the invitation out to them. And so then we'll find out whether the people can come at the day and time we have scheduled, or if we need to invite more or new people, or if it just isn't going to work, we can always reschedule, but this way we at least have it. So here are my suggestions on here. Again, refreshments. Refreshments can be as simple as you want to make them. It can be just a plate of cookies or brownies, or if you love to entertain and you just love to cook, and that you know people are expected to get something when they come to your house, feel free to do what you want with the refreshments. But I just want you to know, can it be as simple as brownies, okay? And all I need is your table and your sink. If the people listen to the 8-minute career chat, the 8-minute career chat ahead of time, they do get a half-off glamour item at your party, and that will be on the invitation that with each person. If you do collect outside orders, just do that, and then I will make all the deliveries for all that. And if they just want to order it and they don't want to pay in advance, that's okay too, because I'll be in charge of collecting all the monies. I'm in charge of making all the deliveries, and you don't have to take any responsibility for that, okay? And you get to sit back, relax, and have a wonderful time at your party with your fun friends. That's what your job is. My job is to take care of the rest. And so you can take this home, and you can just write down here the guest list if you want to, write that. We'll just do that real quick. And then down here at the bottom, this is a place for you to write your wish list. So everything you want to get for free, I want you to write it down there. We'll add it all up, and my job is to partner with you. Remember, we're partners, and my job is to help you get that for free. And I will do my best to do that. So it's great. I'm looking forward to being your partner. You shake hands. I'm looking forward to partnering with you with this. I'm very excited, and I'm really, really excited that you helped Susie tonight get her free travel roll-up bag by booking one of the parties. So thank you. It's been a pleasure to meet you. And one of my best things about when I'm closing them like this is that I usually have the products with me, even if I go to their home. Now, I live in Michigan, and by living in Michigan, we have weather problems, because if it gets too hot or too cold, which usually it's too cold, then we can't leave the products in the car. I do, however, like to take with me at least the basic stuff that I know that that I'm demonstrating. Whatever I'm demonstrating, I like to have with me so that they can get what's in their roll-up. And so I can bring that with me, and I can possibly bring it into the person's home. Usually what I like to do is bring that in separate, like, okay, here's the stuff for my party, but I wanted to make sure I had the products, and I can't leave them in the car, so I'm going to bring them in separately and set them over here. And because I don't want to try to carry everything in at the same time and look like the bag lady. I want this to look fun and simple. Now, the reason I love having the parties in my home is because I don't have to take product anywhere. It's always in my house. And when you build your inventory up, if you do not start with a large inventory, when you build your inventory up, you'll see that you don't want to take everything in the world with you. I can always go back the next day and deliver it, right? And but I really like to have everything so that people get to actually go home with a bag in their hand. There's something powerful about that, and I think that it's really important. So I just want you to know that the whole closing part of the skincare class does take some time. If you really want to sit and get to know the person, have them feel valued, have them feel appreciative, that they feel appreciated that they came today and gave you their opinion and enjoyed having the party, and are booking another party and helping you build your business, if you will take the time with that part of it, your business will flourish and it will be important. Now, will every single person buy everything that they tried? Absolutely not. Not the first time. The best thing that you can do is have everybody have a gap, because when everybody has the gap of what they would love to have to what they can afford today, that's your business. That's all your future business. The gap is the future business for you. And one thing that I try to always make sure that if somebody isn't purchasing tonight, that they feel it just as valued as the people who did, because I want them to know it was fun to meet them, and I'm going to put them on my mailing list, and I'm going to look forward to working with them in the future. And just know that just because somebody doesn't buy something the first time does not mean that they don't like you, and it does not mean they don't like Mary Kay. It just simply means that they can't afford something that day. Most people will buy at least a token item. However, there are some times when people don't buy anything. And so if you find yourself closing the way we did it, where you do a great opening and you do a great presentation, and then you talk all about the specials, then you sit down with them one-on-one and you do the private consultation, and you do a lot of those, and we look at your numbers, and you can be hopefully very open to looking at the situation and knowing, like, let's say for your first 15 to 30 faces that you do, or anytime you get moving with your business and you do 15 to 30 faces, then what we want to do is look at what your per face average is. And how we find that out is to take, the number of people that you facial times the total sales. You divide that number of facials into the total sales, and it'll tell you what your per face average is. Now, I personally know that my per face average is over $100. And so if yours is not that high, we really need to take a look at what could be the situation. And maybe yours is only $50, and that's okay as a new person because you're learning the business. However, if it's not even that, or you've now facialed 100 people and you still don't have more than a $50 per face average, we really need to take a look at and try to figure out what piece of this puzzle that you could tweak, or make sure you're doing every time, or allow somebody to watch you do your presentation, so maybe we can pinpoint what it is that you can tweak so that we can get your numbers higher, and so that you are really truly building a business with Mary Kay. Because this business, they say keep it simple, sweetie, right? And we want to keep it simple. And I know if you've been through this training process now, you're looking at, wow, there's a lot of different points to doing a facial. And there are. But here's the thing. Your enthusiasm can mean everything. So if you're brand new, I don't want you to worry about every little step being so perfect that you never go out and facial people. The only way that you can get this perfect, or at least working towards excellence, because perfection is not what you want to work for. You want to work for excellence, not perfection. The only way to do that is to actually do the presentations and enjoy it, have a lot of fun with the people. And I promise you that you will learn the business by doing more than if you just keep listening to this and studying and you never get out and facial anybody. Just get out and facial them. Whether you do it right or you do it wrong, it doesn't matter. because it's not brain surgery. It's okay. You can always go back and call them and fix it later. And you know what? We play in makeup every day, so there really can't be anything totally wrong. Can you improve all the time? Absolutely. Can you practice this so that you can really start building your business towards excellence? Absolutely. But in the meantime, you got to just have some fun, and you have to know that it is a step-by-step process that you will learn just by practicing. And the greatest part about Mary Kay is that we get to earn while we learn. And just know that very few businesses you can do that. You can go to college and you can spend lots of money on college and on classes and have to take tests and be stressed out about taking the test, and you can do all of that and you still are not guaranteed a job and you make no money while you're doing it. With Mary Kay, you get to play with the products, you get to show people how to look pretty, you get to have lots of girlfriend time, you get to have fun, and you get to earn money while you learn the business. There's nothing better. So make it a great day, have fun, and we'll see you at the top.